Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. My name is James and this is my Mustang, 1997 Mustang. Today we're going to be changing out the rear wheel bearings. I think there's some noise coming from the back right side every time I've been driving it, so that's what we're going to fix. So I need to pull off the wheel, the caliper, drain the diff, open the diff. I am a little afraid of messing with the spider gears. That's something that I don't have experience disassembling, I guess. So I'm a little afraid that I might mess something up by doing that. But like I said, at least it's on this car. I'm willing to learn from this car. It's not expensive and this is not my daily. This is my little fun car as we continue to modify it. But yeah, to get it to run and drive, it's crucial that we get these rear wheel bearings changed out. The one thing I think I'm missing in terms of tools and equipment is probably a puller. In order to get the seal and the rear bearings out, it might be difficult, and I will most likely have to go either to Harbor Freight or O'Reilly's to grab a puller so I can actually get it out. But like I said, get the wheels off, drain the diff, mess with the spider gear, and then pull out the axles. And then after we pull out the axles, then we'll be able to actually go in there and take out the seals and the bearings. So I'm gonna go ahead, get you guys set up on the camera, and then I'll get started. All right, so the wheel is off. Now I'm just gonna work on the caliper. There's two 15 mils on here. So there's one, and the other one is right here underneath, right next to the parking brake cable. So just be mindful of that, but we'll take that off, and then we'll probably just secure it on the quad shock right here with a hanger or something, and then we'll move on to the rotor. All right, we got our 215s out of the caliper. It's currently hanging. I know that looks kind of sketchy, but it is supported. It's not bending or pinching the brake line. I was gonna take off the dust cap right here, but it's probably not necessary to do so. I wanna get started on the bottom down here, and I want to start removing these nuts, these bolts on the diff cover. So they are 13s, and it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 of them to do. So it shouldn't take me too long. And then I have a pan underneath to collect all the diff fluid when it comes out, and we'll get started. As I'm getting underneath the car, I realized that having the axle tube supported with the two jacks is actually making it super difficult to reach some of the bolts on the diff. So I ended up moving the jacks to the frame of the car so that the axle could actually droop down a little bit more so that I could reach the bolts on the top of the diff cover. And once I was able to do that, it was a lot easier to get in there. And you can use a little extension on the ratchet, and that'll give you some clearance if you have a sway bar, an aftermarket sway bar like I do. But that's just a little tip that I realized. There we go. A little bit of fluid going. Now that we have the diff cover pried open and the gear fluid is draining, I did notice that there was quite a lot of metallic glitter. Not exactly shavings or larger pieces, but enough for concern. Okay, seal is broken. A lot of dust. And voila! Let's see this thing. Yeah, pretty dirty. Pretty dirty. So we'll go ahead and clean up inside the diff. But like I said, I'm afraid of messing up any of this, honestly. But we're gonna have to loosen the caps over here, and then I'll have to put the car in neutral so I can spin the drive shaft so that I can get this portion. I forgot what the name of this guy. Maybe it is the spider gear. To get this pin so that I can actually pull the axle out on that side, and then we'll see where we get to here in a second. The next thing I'm going to do is take a inverted 8mm Torx, or number 8 Torx, to the wheel speed sensor on the back of this, and then I'll just take this off real quick. All right, I spun the drive shaft so that we can get access to this bolt right here. That's what's going to allow us to remove this pin in the middle. Before I even try to loosen it though, I'm going to put the car back into park so that I'm not fighting the drive shaft spinning over again. And then once we remove that bolt, then I can put the drive shaft or the gear transmission back into neutral, and then I can get that pin out of the way so that we have access to the C-clip that's holding the axle in place. Oh, thank the heavens. Honestly, that was terrifying because it felt like I was about to start stripping this thing. I stopped by O'Reilly's and I picked up these 11-inch long reach pliers. That's what I used to get the C-clip out of the axle. So now we can actually go ahead and remove it. All right, so I'm gonna be a little careful. I don't want to scrape this whole thing, but I also don't want to get my hands filthy. Let me grab a towel real quick. Okay, trying to scrape it. Ta-da! Nice, dude. Super freaking sick. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's just put this guy off to the side. All right, so that's what you can see on the outside is the seal, and then on the interior, if I zoom this in a little bit, you guys can actually see the bearings. They do have a little bit of wear marks, but let's go ahead, get our new fancy tool from Harbor Freight and pull these out. All right, we have our slide hammer assembly right here, and these are the different bearing pullers, I guess, if you want to call them that. This is the biggest one of the set. I'm hoping it's gonna work, so just come over here and look at this, and looks like it'll fit. We'll see. And then I'm gonna attach this piece onto the slide hammer, and what happens is as you tighten this guy, these little arms, these winglets, I guess you could call them, spread open, and this lip catches the backside of the bearing. So when we actually start to hit the slide hammer, it'll pull the seal, well, the bearing and the seal both out, hopefully. So let's give it a shot. All right, I finally got the seal out. This is the bearing that's behind it. Literally, call me a combat veteran. I went to war with this thing. This is nuts. Look at this. Okay, so you can see I used a screwdriver to like mess with the inside of the seal to get it so that it would actually grip. And then the second part of the battle is right here. You can see all the corrosion on the outside. So it kind of got, I forgot the name for it, but it's just like corrosive rust from it sitting so long. So I'm gonna clean up this mating surface before I do the rest of the seals and the bearings, but we're gonna go ahead and try to pull the bearing, and hopefully it comes out a lot easier than this guy, because that was ridiculous. It's gonna come out super easy now. Boom. Done. Hell yeah. Okay. All right. Now I have the seal and the bearing out. You can see there's some metal pieces in there from when I was trying to pull it. So I'm gonna clean this surface on the interior right here, and then go ahead and grab the new seal and the new bearing. All right, so we have our new bearing and our new seal, and then our little bearing seal press. We're not gonna go too crazy at first. We wanna make sure that when we put the bearing and the seal in, it lines up and goes straight in. We don't want it all cockeyed or canted, I guess is a better word to describe that. And then I wanna add some of our, just a little bit, not too much, add a little bit of our gear oil, both on the bearing to kind of get it started. And then it just sits there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the bearing press. Hopefully this isn't too big. I just want to go nice and easy taps. All right, our new seal, new bearing is in there. Took some of the axle or the gear oil and lubed that up. And now I will take our axle and go ahead and throw that back in there. And then while I am doing this, I have to be careful when it goes back into the diff to not bang the bang the axle around all crazy, but we're good. The whole time I'm trying to not let this grind the gear, so I don't want to make any noise. Which so far so good, not too bad. Just there. Boom. Okay, and then we'll go ahead, throw the C-clip on there, and then mess with the gasket stuff. Okay, we've got our C-clip right here, and I need to push in this axle just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and take the C-clip, put it on that guy, which I don't think I'm gonna even try to do one-handed, but let's give it a shot. Let's see how skilled I am. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh, am I really about to do this one-handed? This is crazy. Okay, the C-clip is all the way back in, and now we're gonna go ahead and put our pin back in this guy. But before I do that, I can verify that the C-clip's all the way in because, oh my God, can I get my hand out of the way? When I pull the axle back out, you'll see that it, boom, goes past the S-spring. So we know it's not messed up. We know that it's fitting correctly. And then I'll go ahead, take our pin, put it through this guy in the top right here. All right, well, easy enough. Got all that in. I did put some thread locker on this guy. I'll go ahead and tighten that up. And then the torque, I believe the torque on this thing is like 10 inch-pounds. It's something very small. I'm probably wrong on the torque, but I didn't film it, but I put on the RTV on the diff cover. I put it back on, and then I put the bolts loosely back in, so I will torque those down to the factory spec, and I will have to open the fill plug, and we'll go ahead and start filling this thing up with some of the new gear fluid, gear oil. The annoying thing is I realized that after taking off the caliper, I'm having a hell of a time putting it back on. And with these kind of calipers, at least the rear, you can't just compress it to get the piston, I guess, to go back into the main housing. So you can see there's slots on the piston. I think that's what it's called. And so I used a special tool because you're actually supposed to go clockwise with it. And so as you spin with this tool, which I have on the table, as you spin with the tool, it pushes that piston back into the body. So I'm gonna say that this is actually seized up, and that's probably what was actually making the noise. I did order a new rear caliper so that we can install that, but these are new pads, and it's just not fitting even after I tried to spin that as much as I could. So frustrating, but I'm glad I caught this before something bad happened. So we'll see if that is the fix, but I'll go ahead and start filling up the diff with our new fluid. All right, the fill plug is up on top. I did have to remove this heavy bottom bracket with these two bolts, and then this top mount bracket so that I would have enough wiggle room to get up here. And then now I'm just gonna start getting this guy out. Careful not to strip the tool or the inside, but you can see that's pretty much right there, and now it should be loose enough to where I can do it with my fingers. All right, we're gonna go with this first bottle. Try to use this tube. In total, it took a little bit more than 3 quarts, or just about 3 quarts of fluid to fill the diff until it started to pour out. Looks like I bought 1 extra quart for no reason. We're pretty full in here, so I'm gonna just let the rest of that drain off onto the ground. Not literally on the ground, but oh my Jesus, that's actually way more than I wanted. Holy crap, please stop. Stop. Hey, stop recording. Stop. Oh shit. We've got our plug. I'm gonna go ahead and just thread this guy back on there, and then we'll go ahead and take this thing for a test drive and see if it works. Our new shiny rear brake caliper is here, and this is what the old one looks like. Like I said, this piece is no longer pushing in. That's why we went and got this new one. You can see just how much further in that piston has gone. This looks really nice and clean. Eventually, I think I'll Cerakote. These guys are getting powder coated, but yeah, so this guy, we're gonna have to take that off and then bleed the brakes, which is gonna be easy, but I'll just show you guys once this is all done. All right, we have a little bit of a way to go off of the kind of hillside here. I'm still hearing. Still hearing some noise I don't like. Damn it. Don't mind me, that's just my low-ass car banging the ground. Well, as of right now, it doesn't really seem like I fixed it. Let me keep driving. Hold on one second. Let me drive up the street a little bit. Oh man, no, I can still, even though I'm going like less than 10 miles per hour, I still hear that noise. Well, I guess we just drive this thing till it breaks, and then that'll let me know, you know, what's wrong with this thing. I'm so upset right now. I can't show it. I'm so upset right now. This thing, it's bouncy. It's making noise. Oh man, that's gonna be so annoying. Oh well, we tried. All right, on to the next one. Well, we did not solve our issue with the Mustang. Even after changing the rear bearings, we saw that nothing was wrong with the old ones. The new ones didn't make any noise. The old ones didn't make any noise. We even changed that brake caliper that was seized, still making noise. So the only thing I can think of that would be causing noise now is the U-joint or something with the drive shaft. Maybe I have the pinion angle off. But like I said, super frustrating, still making a ton of noise in the back. So it's gonna take me some time and I'll have to troubleshoot it. And then hopefully after I do some troubleshooting, I'll get another video out. I know this one took super long, had a whole bunch of other projects, so trying to get this thing figured out. It's very frustrating. So it's part of the process. We're learning. I'm doing new upgrades on the car, learning more about different maintenance components. So I'm happy with that, but was really hoping that we would have this solved. But until the next video, guys, catch you in the next one.